I have come to hate pregnancy tests. Every time they came back negative, I would just feel gutted. I would question whether we should keep trying or not, and then I would question, where is God? So we knew we wanted to have a family and that there would be challenges to having that. We didn't know it would be as complicated as it kind of came out to be, but it did turn out to be a lot more complicated in that way.
So we were aware that there potentially were some challenges with me and us getting pregnant. And when we were at one of those doctor appointments, the doctor confirmed that everything was okay with me and turned to Rebekah and effectively was like, has anybody looked at you? Have they checked out you at all?
It definitely took the wind out of my sails when they asked me if anyone had looked at me, because at that point I was totally good. Yeah, my relationship with God at the beginning of this whole journey and when it kind of started getting complicated was I started questioning whether I was hearing him or not, and whether I felt like our prayers were lining up with what he was wanting me to do. I have come to hate pregnancy tests. They always came back negative. And every time they came back negative, I would just feel gutted. I would just feel like I failed again, my body failed me, these treatments are not working for us, and I would question whether we should keep trying or not, and then I would question, where is God in the midst of these 2 to 3 minutes comforting me as I waited in the bathroom. So it had been about 3 years of us trying on our own and just with some other interventions, but then we kind of had to step into going into more invasive treatments.
Baby announcements are hard.
Yeah, baby announcements are hard, especially when they're close friends, family.
The hardest announcement that we heard was from some of our closest friends, and we were going on a multi-day camping trip with them. And right when we arrived, they told us that they were expecting a child.
Typically, whenever people announce to us, I'm very good at putting a brave face on and like being excited for them, but I can usually have time to like go and then feel my feelings after we're gone. But we were going camping and we had no space to ourselves, and I couldn't control it, and I just lost all control of emotion, and it was like a huge, ugly reaction to some of the most important people that we have. So after I reacted like that, I definitely withdrew from that relationship, whether it was out of self-protection or jealousy or whatever it was. Yeah, it went on for a year and a half, and we got together for a big family event after they had already had their son. When we got home, I just realized how much of my hurt was now affecting some of the most important relationships in my life, and I felt like we needed to change that, and I needed to talk to them and apologize. I think God was pressing on my heart that His goodness and His good plan for our lives doesn't change, whether other people announce they're pregnant or whether we're not pregnant or whatever the outcome is. In that time, we really had to just let go of all of our plans and all we wanted to kind of have the outcome be, and just fully rely on Him at that time.
So while we were at peace with where God had brought us to and in our fertility journey, we never got a red light to stop. We never felt like God said, you're supposed to stop. So we were continuing with IVF, and we did our first round of IVF, and it came back negative.
Yeah, and so we had a really close-knit group praying for us as we were going through these IVF treatments, and one of our really close friends came back and was super angry on our behalf. And he had asked, he was like, how are you okay? And I just had this like realization that God's goodness doesn't change, whether it comes back positive or negative. My hope and my joy is found in the gospel, and that's unchanging.
We went for our second IVF treatment, and when we showed up, the embryologist told us that they had thawed one of our frozen embryos and it had died. It didn't survive the thawing process. The embryologist, they quickly thawed one more embryo, and when we arrived, the embryologists looked at us and said, "This one's a fighter." And she is.
In our 7-year journey, our prayers really changed over that timeline. It felt like they went from being selfish to what we wanted, the outcome of a baby, but also now it went to God. Use our story as a testimony to encourage people in their own walks with God, with Him, in their faith and their hope, and so that they can see His goodness.